Now, I've spent my entire life making pictures, so I don't hold any delusions about the transformative power of artworks. Not enough people ever see them to interrupt the dynamism and the challenges we face living from day to day. But what they can do, however, is to invite us to imagine oneself as a subject and an author of a never-ending story that is still yet to be told. Now, this is what I've tried to do and tried to accomplish with words, images, and colored glass for right here and for right now. I came to the cathedral to have a discussion about the project, which was to change out the Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson windows. I understood it was going to take a lot of thinking, especially in relationship to the transformation the cathedral was trying to enact. This is a big, kind of monumental undertaking, and you have to figure out whether you're going to be able to meet the moment. In the founding documents of the United States, there's a clause that provides for the population to seek some redress for the grievances you have. That's built in to the structure of the country, which means that over time, you are engaged in a process of revision that requires struggle that's ongoing. It's always ongoing. When Harold Washington became the first black mayor elected in Chicago, he said something that struck me at the time. And he said,
"No one, no matter where they live or how they live, is free from the fairness of our administration."
This is how I came to this idea. It's that we want fairness, not no foul play. That seemed to me to be a conceptual relationship that I thought could do the work that I want these windows to do. This is where humidity is going to give you some fits.
Is it running?
No, but the red wasn't completely dry.
Or what? I'm just curious to see if there's a heating element in that ceramic coil.
But the problem is you got to stand there with that.
I can get a chair.
That's just as bad.
It might be hard to see, but the original concept was done with a colored pencil. The colors we selected from that palette translated well into kind of what becomes a living piece of art that changes every day with the sun and the clouds. So trying to translate all these different variables was the most challenging part for me, but also the most gratifying.
I chose to use a group of anonymous individuals because I think we tend to make celebrities the focal point of any kind of achievement, when for the most part, almost all the achievements we experience are the work of vast numbers of anonymous and unidentified people who put in the work on a day-to-day basis. I was born in 1955. I was alive to experience the assassination of the President of the United States, which for an 8-year-old was a shocking occurrence. 2 years after that, we were in the middle of the Watts riots. By 1968, I was the witness to the shootouts between the LA Police Department and the Black Panther Party. The Vietnam War was raging. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. Malcolm X was killed. So you talk about volatility. I'm conditioned by that kind of volatility. And that's just the political volatility. That's not to mention the kind of neighborhood challenges that you have to negotiate in order to make it from one day to the next. All those things contribute to a perception of how you move through the world, survive in the world, and what your expectations can be. That's the backdrop against which I, as an artist, have to conceptualize the imagery I'm going to produce and the value I think it will have for the culture.
They read beautiful. It is cool when you walk up the aisle and you watch it. It's a different light coming out of this bay than all the others.
Yeah, well, they're different. I mean, they're not anywhere near as fragmented as most of the other images in all the other windows.
Yeah.
They present themselves with a clarity. It does what I wanted it to do. Formally, the movement from the bottom to the top is really important because it's like down here on the ground in the crucible where all of these sort of needs and desires are fought for, is where the heat is always generated. And as we achieve more of the kinds of ideal conditions we look for, it requires less of that kind of energy and agitation. Although in the upper part, there's a kind of oscillating back and forth dynamic between the colors and the whiteness of some of the glass shapes, so that even in that upper part that seems chromatically more tranquil, there's still an incredible amount of energy and back and forth going on. I wanted that too, that achievement doesn't necessarily mean complacency. If you look at history, the success that the United States enjoys is accompanied by a legacy of brutality, not just here in the United States, but all over the place. Out of the crucible of all of that violence, all the warfare, all the colonial impositions, out of the crucible of all of that, we got a chance to live. And the chance to live that we got makes us obligated to do whatever we can to guarantee that those processes that were played out before we arrived are not repeated in the same way from the moment we are here on. That's what the replacement of those windows means.